Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome back today to Mountune, which can only mean it is time for an update on the Red Edition Focus RS. Not only that though, I'm going to go for a test drive in Mountune's Development Mark III RS, which now has a sequential gearbox. I'm going to find out if that's going to be the next update we do on mine. There have been a few things that have been changed though since I last saw the car, so let's get indoors into the workshop and go take a look at what's been done. And that right there is the development car back in with the gearbox that I'm going to be discovering any moment now. We'll be checking it out, just going out for some testing. Exciting times. Here we are then, but also I want to come back to show you this. Mountune now doing some work on the Golf R. They've started work with Volkswagen cars as well, but my car sitting here, it's been with the guys for a little bit. They've done a lot of things with it. It's actually had its first year service while it's been in with them. Believe it or not, I've now had this car for 12 months. They've been looking after it, looking over some of the readouts from the data that's obviously come from driving the car, did some ring laps with it, have taken it down the Autobahn, and that's meant, because this was the first car outside of their development car, that they can take those readings, look into it, and improve it going forward as well. Also in here, you will spot from Pro Alloy, we've got a new header tank here, the coolant tank. The old one is actually right here, just so you can see how that looked. The plastic container that we had. We did have the Kuro carbon cover over the top of it, but it's now been replaced with a billet aluminium one. You can have it either painted black like this or in aluminium. That's a nice touch as well to go with the other finish that you have from the interior, the Mountune intake. And don't forget, this engine is now running just shy of 500 horsepower. Some big upgrades that have been made to it, completely rebuilding the thing head to toe, new turbo, new just about everything that goes into that, conrods, pistons, you name it. Also the intercooler, and I do like seeing that Mountune logo painted in race red there to match with the bodywork. If we come around towards the back, we've had a couple of small things done, but one that we're currently actually doing ourselves is the installation of some of these parts from TUFSKINZ. It's the carbon fiber look interior pack that you have, the full set, all the skins that you have down here. Now obviously it's a Focus RS, you can't get the full carbon fiber pieces everywhere around here. But it also gives you these inlays, and that will go around all of the trim, including on the inside here up front, which all still needs to be done. And you can see the SS tuning steering wheel and the gear shift knob that we've got in there as well. And we have some of the original carbon fiber trim. So with the Red Edition, you can see the carbon trim that you have there on the door grab handles, the RS logos. I've actually missed this car. There aren't going to be too many more things that we need to do with it. We definitely need some carbon fiber mirror caps. We are trying to get some of those. Hopefully that's going to come at some point before too long to go with the Ventus Veloce carbon fiber exterior kit the car has. But the big topic of discussion is going to be to do with the gearbox. Of course, the car coming with the 6-speed manual, amusingly, alongside with a previous Gen RS with a Quaife. In fact, can we see it? Yeah, just there. That is the Quaife sequential differential. Now they've just installed one on the development car that we saw outside, which I'm going to be test driving to see whether it will be the next upgrade that this car needs. Here then is Mountune's development car for the Mark III Focus RS, and I've also just spotted, by the way, there is a BAC mono just up that way. Mountune are responsible for the engines in the monos, but this is the very car that I drove before. It's their test bed for developing and testing out new features, new upgrades, and at the time it had just had the full works to the engine to bring it up towards 500 horsepower, the same setup that's now made its way into my car. But the biggest difference about it versus the last time I drove the car is that it now has the Quaife sequential gearbox. Also though, just quickly, spot those wider front fenders. I really like that. You can see how much wider they are than standard by the opening that you've got here. Carbon fiber as well, much lighter than standard. I really like that, and also the way that they've finished it, leaving that exposed carbon section, but the rest matching the bodywork. So I might have to be doing those too. But on the inside, let me show you this, the substantial changes that we have when you see the gear shifter, the sequential gear shifter in the center. There's also a temporary display just up there that will show the gear. That's not the final position, it's the development car, remember, but this is a completely different mentality to drive. So let me just start it up. I've got the key in my pocket and we have to show you a little bit about this. So basically you can see it's in neutral. You've got the temperature of it there as well. To go into gear, you kind of pull this up and you push it, of course, forwards to go down gears, backwards to go up gears. So you have to go up and down through every gear, 5-speed in total. So I need to engage my brain to actually drive this, but to get an experience of what it's like. And this car Certainly sounds good as well. Remember, development car, I do need to be very careful with it, drive it quite gently. This has only just gone in, but I'm going to decide if this could be one of the next upgrades we do in mine. Now then, no pressure to get this right first time or anything like that. I'm going to pop it into reverse. It's normal when it's warm that you get a little bit of crunching out of it. So into reverse, reversing camera wakes up, take off the handbrake. Yeah. Okay, so far so good. This feels fairly normal. I think the last time I drove a car with a sequential box was probably when I raced in the mini challenge. So we go into reverse, back into neutral, then into first, just like that. You do have to remember though to go through every gear. So no like coasting up to a roundabout in 5th gear where you're then going to be a bit stuck trying to go back down through all the gears to be able to pull away in first. Just over this bump a little bit carefully. So give it some throttle. Oh, not enough throttle. We're good. Oh, listen to that noise. Listen to the whine that you get out of the gearbox. How cool is that? This sounds like race car already. This sounds like proper race car, that gearbox whine. So we have a lovely road here, just to go for a short little drive. Wow, that feel up into second. Banging in the gear. And where this comes to life, of course, is when you're driving it more aggressively and you're literally just going bang, bang, especially when you're downshifting. The noise though, the sound of it, that whine, I'm sure you can hear that on the camera. What a sound coming from down towards the front. Gearbox mated to the engine. So, I was gonna say, is this the next upgrade to do? But now I already, and I'm not even driving the car hard, feel like it's the next upgrade I need to do to the RS. To give it a sequential box, to make it even more of an epic kind of race car. Drop it down to 4th, wow. Down to 3rd. This sounds so cool. I love it, I absolutely love it. Now you can pop the car, of course, into the sport mode using the toggle there. You get a few more sounds and burbles out of the exhaust. Also becomes a bit more responsive. I haven't actually driven my RS at this point for a couple of months, so I do need to slightly adjust to it. But even just normal driving, actually, it's manageable, it's usable. Even though it's the shifter up here kind of at your shoulder height, down to 2nd, down to 1st, that's where you need to not get it wrong, of course. That would be a potential problem spot. But yeah, this seems to drive fairly normally. No issues, no concerns. Let's go all the way around the roundabout, head straight back again. Literally a very, very short drive right at this moment. Like I say, development car, they need to continue with their testing. And they've allowed me to take it out to get a small experience for this. So what do you think? Do I need one of these, a sequential box, in my Focus RS, in my red edition? And I'm inclined to say at this moment that I probably do. It's feeling that way. This is so cool. I'm just getting used to the feeling of it, a feeling of shifting like this. Oh, the bang as well in the little tunnel. Oh, feeling some of the power from the turbos. Of course, we can do more of that in mine, but the gearbox needs running in. Hasn't had many miles on it yet. Up into 5th. And like I say, the positioning of the gear shift indicator is going to move as well. This is the development car. Feels pretty cool to me though. I am not complaining in the slightest. I absolutely love this. It just makes it so different. Imagine the jumping in and out between my two Focus RSs. The Heritage, which is completely stock, bar the Mountune 375 upgrade that it's got, and then the red that could be like this. Oh yes, there we go. Some of the cracks on the exhaust. The famous sounds of the Focus RS. Short little one then. I've got to go give them the car back, but I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot, getting to see what this was like, drop it down to 1st gear. Really cool. Really, really, really cool. I'm going to come back to that sequential very shortly to think more about it, but meanwhile, some work on the installation of the skins has been continuing inside the workshop to mine, and there's one other thing actually that I didn't tell you about earlier on. Down here in the engine bay, and I'm just going to turn on my lights so that you can see this a little bit better, you have got a billet short shifter that's now been installed. So 500 grams lighter than the standard, of course quite deep down inside there, but if I just come around, it's also a 25% shorter throw on the standard gear shifter, so a slightly more sporty driving experience experience. You can see also more of the inserts, more of the carbon fiber skins that have been installed. Of course, this is real carbon fiber that we've got on the steering wheel. These are just kind of look-alike. They give you that finish though and the appearance without having the cost that would go into developing and having all of those parts made from full carbon. So those are all going on just to give it a bit more of the look. You can see some of them installed, heating them up to bend them into shape and make sure that they all fit correctly. But things are going well on that. Won't be too much longer before we're ready and set to take it on out. And also, I want to talk a bit more about this. As you can see then, a Golf R with a few differences, the M52. So a lot of upgrades to the engine. I'll open that up in a second. Visually, you can see the 19-inch chicane wheels. They're also fitted with Pilot Sport Cup 2 tyres, the same tyres that I have on my RS. Very much recommended, a lot of fun. You've got the splash design going down the side as well. New brakes on this. If I just come through here as well, on the inside, notice the shift paddles on the DSG, the dual clutch gearbox that you have in the car. Those are really cool actually, the way they're cut out. Of course, up on the right, down on the left. Then down here, just to open up the engine bay. This car's been upgraded to 360 horsepower, 500 newton meters. It's got a new induction kit, which we should be able to see. Yep, just here you can see the induction piping. So this is really cool. The kind of Mountune experience from cars like the Focus RS, now also on the Golf R, sitting on new springs and some prototype dampers to go with that as well. Very exciting to see them moving on into slightly different things with this too. Just close that back down. Golf R, of course, a very, very quick hot hatch, as I'm sure many of you will know. I'm just going to close this back down, which is actually something quite hard to do while holding a video camera. I definitely should have thought about that before, but that kind of clicks in down there, and then we can drop this, which is all nicely lined. And I can assure you that carbon fiber bonnet is a lot lighter than the standard one that was on the car. We're also thinking though to maybe do some topaz skin on the car like we're doing with my G63. Maybe a design that covers this part in red, leaves the main body center of the bonnet exposed, perhaps. And what about if I change those fenders? We could use that as well. Use topaz skin to get the color matched perfectly. All options I'm considering for the next stage of rounds of things we do. And also brakes. Brakes and pads are definitely something on the cards to consider as well in the next stage. First thing with this then, of course, with the shorter throw on the shifter, that is a small difference. I can feel that already. Of course, you notice it more when you're driving the car in a very spirited way, but we need to warm it up. It's not been driven properly for a while. We'll get the car up and running, go out for a little drive, just get a feel again for what it's like. I'm actually missing now not having the sequential. That's really strange, by having the normal gear shifter rather than the full-on sequential. But nonetheless, feels good to be back in the Rail RS. I know it's a funny thing in a world with lots of supercars going on and all the different content that I'm creating, but every time driving this car, or these kind of cars, hot hatch, power that you can use, a smaller, more nimble car, especially on these kind of roads that we have in the UK, just feels at home, it feels right. And this, just the noise, the grumble that you've got going on in the background, feels completely bang on. I can't wait to get this out again and really start pushing on. Although maybe that will be with a new gearbox in it. That's a decision that I've actually got to make as to what we're going to do with the car. Anyway, for now we will cruise for a little bit and just enjoy the drive. Of course, I need to press sport mode in here. Double press of that, we go into sport mode. I won't be able to skip in front of the truck, unfortunately. Or is he going all the way around the roundabout? We're going to get an opportunity then to accelerate out onto the dual carriageway. Wow, the power delivery in here. This thing is so quick, and then you get all those cracks on the lift off as well. This thing is just a barrel of laughs, which is exactly what it should be. Anyway, got a short little drive on towards my next stop for the day, heading around running some errands, but very happy to have this car back for a little bit, and of course to be thinking, oh, we've got a truck who is trying to overtake us. Little does he know that I'm going to be overtaking him any second, which is really frustrating that he didn't let me go out first. Anyway, to think about the sequential, to think about what we can do next. I mean, there are some obvious like must-dos, the brakes, those kind of upgrades, of course the carbon mirrors, but I think I got the itch for changing this out for a full sequential. It's something that, I don't know, it's just fun. It makes it feel like race car, even though it's obviously still very much road car. But with this amount of power, I expect we might be able to see a touch more out of it too. But we'll have to think more about this, decide if it's the right move. Do let me know in the comments whether you think we should put a sequential in the Focus RS. The idea of that just sounds ridiculous. But for now, a big thanks, as always, to Mountune for looking after the car, getting it sorted out and ready for coming along today to pick it up, go out for a drive as well in theirs. But that is it for this time, guys. I will catch up with you again soon for the next instalment of the modifications that we're doing to the project car. So thanks as always. I'll see you then. Cheers.